Yo, what's up guys? The Insane Game Freak here. And the Pokemon fan base of my channel has insanely cried out. It's kind of ridiculous. And I figured, because I've noticed that the anime seems to be taking the same direction as the game is in terms of its filler, that I might as well go ahead and do my first impressions on the X and Y anime, because so many of you were like, do first impressions, do episode reviews, please. And I was like, I don't really want to do episode reviews again, because that Black and Best Wishes that's 3 years of reviews I did for Best Wishes, and that shit it was fun and draining at the same time. I don't want to go back into that, and as I said, if you really want to see Best Wishes episode reviews, link in the description or annotation. Tyrone, the guy at 3, has been doing them consistently for each of the episodes, the Japanese version, not the English dub. So yeah, and I am going to talk a little bit about the English dub in here, so for those who wanted my opinions on the English dub, you will get them, because I've heard all the main cast voices in English. Now, I think they're episode 4 in the English dub, and I've watched up to episode, I believe, 14, which is the Esper episode with Bonnie. And I know the whole Delphox Chessman one is out, but it's not English subject, so there's no reason for me to talk about it because I haven't watched it yet. So with all that being said, here are my first impressions of the Pokemon X and Y anime. So the first thing I'll probably address is the dub real quick. In terms of voices, I don't have a problem with, but Pokemon X and Y anime is going to suffer from almost all the other seasons. And that's that Pokemon USA does not know how to write Pokemon in English, because there are so many awkward... The awkwardness in terms of the battles are still awkward. I mean, they were awkward in Diamond and Pearl, and they were awkward in Black and White, and X and Y isn't any different. The writing hasn't really improved. It's more of just kind of stayed on par with the rest of it is. And I looked at the dub episode for episode 4, the Dene episode. That writing hasn't gotten any better. In terms of the voices themselves, I don't really have a problem with any of them, honestly. Except for maybe Sycamore's voice. I mean, he's not that prevalent of a character, but still, I heard his voice today and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And on top of all of that, it's just kind of like, Pokemon, I've just learned that since 4Kids will never really get the dubbing rights to it back, I'm just going to say that if it's anything in Hoenn, if it's anything past Hoenn, watch it in Japanese. So it's not horrible, just Also, the X and Y opening, which is essentially a remix or even a cover, I guess is what I like our route. See, the thing is about the Pokemon USA openings, and instead of the 4Kids openings, which if you notice the difference is that the 4Kids openings usually got like a fairly sized version in the opening, and then we got like a remix version of it in the movies. Whereas the USA openings have always been like short 30-second clips, and then we got the full opening in the movie, which to me, 4Kids Ways was better, because at least then we got 2 full songs that sounded really good, and usually had a cool remix for it. USA's is just, if you didn't like the song before, the full version wouldn't change your mind anyway. And the thing is that for X and Y, they decided to use the first opening of the series in America, which a lot of people are fanboying over, even though I view it as them being lazy, and I'm viewing it as a cop-out, because for one, we've had remixes of the original, and we've had covers of the original. And my whole aggravation with them, people are like, oh my god, it's the first opening to bring back this. No, it wasn't. Johto Champions used the basis of the first opening behind its remix. It was like, it started off with the whole, I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. The catching me is my real test, the training them is my call, and then the remix comes in with the my whole life is meant to this, it's time to test my skills, and I know I can become the very best. Born to be a winner, Johto, born to be a champion, born to be a winner, born to be the very best. Pokemon, Johto, born to be a winner, Pokemon. See that, I'm cool with that. And I know that's not what the X and Y opening is going to be. Now if it is, that's cool, but I'm pretty sure it's just a fucking cover. Which to me comes off lazy, because all of Pokemon USA's openings have sucked. They've either been not as good, or they've just straight out sucked. And that's what I view that opening as a cop-out. Now, if it was like a remix using the theme, kind of like what Johto Champions was, it'd be okay, but it's not, so fuck it. That's my opinion on it. I just think it's bullshit. Why would you do that? But if you want to play the nostalgia card because you can't really come up with your own good original content, that's whatever. I don't really care for Pokemon USA gaining that acquisition. That's the one show I would have been like, 4Kids, you should have just kept. Because Pokemon USA don't know what the fuck they're doing with it. And that's just my personal opinion. On to the series itself now. So we have our four mains, Ash, Bonnie, Clement, and Serena. And we have, I'm not going to say we have our designated goals, but we have our basic personality types and character gimmicks and whatnot. How Serena is going to be more kind of the Brock of the series in the sense of she's the one with the navigation materials. Clement's going to be the whole scientist gag thing, and Bonnie's going to... It seems like they've kind of split off Brock's whole gags and kind of separated within all the characters. The only problem I have with this is that they don't seem to have their own defining traits beside... Well, let me rephrase that. Serena doesn't seem like she has her own defining traits, and actually Serena is like my biggest section of the group entirely, because honestly the group dynamic is actually pretty fun. And I do like the fact that X and Y, even if the episode is focused on one character, they don't just exclude the other characters like the other regions did. Like in the older episodes, they used to just have, if the episode was focused on Misty, then you didn't see shit or hear shit from Brock and Ash. That's usually what they did. X and Y, like with the whole Sylveon episode, you still had Clement and Bonnie and Serena interacting and saying and doing things. Even in the Rhyhorn episode, they didn't just completely exclude the character like they would have done in older regions, and that's what I do like. Also, the one thing I think everybody's commented on and everyone loves is the new battle animation style. Oh my god. I love this style. Granted, the later episodes haven't really used it much because they haven't had like real full out on battles. Like ever since, and it's usually because the battles aren't long enough to justify using that kind of animation. But they're not reusing frames as much as they used to. Because for battles, they used to reuse frames all the time to the point where battles weren't exciting. Battles are really exciting in X and Y. I will say, as far as the Pokemon anime is concerned, these are the best battle animations we've used. And I like this whole real-time battling and the camera zooming out and all the cool like side effects. So it doesn't feel like we're just rewatching frames again. Honestly, if they were to change the style at any point in X and Y or even in any future series, it would kind of suck. Because I enjoy the style so much more. It's a lot more exciting and more invigorating. But to get into the characters individually, I guess, Ash, I've enjoyed so far. They didn't do that stupid bull that they did in Diamond and Pearl and Black and White where they made Ash look like a dumbass. Ash out the gate, stereotypical Ash stuff. And then when we get into our first few battles, he has his old swag back. Like his Hoenn Johto swag. Like the swag in which he would come up with moves on the fly. He's like the Bumblebee thing, uses Iron Tail, and he's like, I caught your Iron Tail. I was like, yeah, but now you can't use your bunny ears. And he's like, Electro Ball. I'm like, oh, that's the Ash I like. Or the whole, what is that thing called in English? Fufaro episode, where NK splashes Pikachu with inks and he's blind. He has the ink in his eyes, and he pretty much guides Pikachu blind through a fight. That's my Ash. That's the Ash I like. That's my Ash swag right there. So, a lot of people have mentioned how this series is taking a lot from Hoenn, which it is. It's taking a lot from Hoenn. Well, where Ash is on his swag again. He's running around beating people up. It's just ridiculous. He has strategies. Even when he lost the first gym match, which I know a lot of people don't like, because the only other season to do that would be, I think it was Johto. No, not Johto. Kanto and Sinnoh did that. And Sinnoh, people know how much I don't like Sinnoh. But the way they did it, it's probably the least amount of aggravation I've ever had towards him losing in a gym fight. Because I wasn't really mad at it. I also like, the other cool thing I like is in the rematch, she didn't use the same strategy to fight him. It wasn't that stereotypical, oh, I figured out the strategy, so I'm going to reapproach you, and I'm going to use my new strategy to beat the same strategy you're using. She actually switched up strategies with the whole Vivillon thing. And the way that ended wasn't the stereotypical, oh, of course I'm just gonna wipe the floor with you. That makes rematches interesting when you do that. So I've enjoyed Ash. Period. Like, he has not aggravated me at all. Ash is cool. Clement and Bonnie. Clement, for the most part, I don't have a problem with at all. I understand the whole gag behind his Cytronic gear, about how he has these really good ideas, and in practice it works for a while, and then like usually the thing blows up in his face. The problem I have is that his gag is going to get redundant, because I feel like that's what he's going to do for the entirety of the series, is he's going to have his little moments where he creates these inventions that kind of work, and obviously they're doing the whole thing where Ash gives him this encouragement, which makes him feel better, it makes him feel stronger, and more confident about what he's doing, and his justification for his actions. I understand that. I just don't want it. I want at the very least, to me, at the very least, and I know they're not going, if they do this, it'd be cool. If they wait until they have the gym match, and then after the gym match, none of his things explode from that point on, I think that would be nice progression. I feel like it's going to explode for a while. Like, they're going to just do that as a gag. And I don't mind the gag as long as they don't beat it to death, like they've been kind of doing. Like, if you can give me some episodes where he's not doing that, which pretty much means non-filler, then we're good. Because he didn't do it in the Esper episode, but he did it, like, in the whole, what's that thing called? Scatterbug? Yeah, the Scatterbug stuff, and he did it in the Dene stuff, and he even did it during the whole rematch thing. I don't want his machines to become that consistent to the point in which they get redundant and annoying. Because they're kind of getting there, and I'm like, give us some episodes where he's not doing that. That way we don't get tired of the gag. Bonnie, I can actually say right now, Bonnie's probably better than Max. Not in terms of knowledge, but she's just more of an enjoyable character, because Max's whole thing is that he was supposed to be like a smart kid, but he still acted his age. Bonnie's just a stereotypical hyperactive girl who likes to play around, but she really likes Pokemon, and she's not like an inconsiderate dick about things. Like, she's more likable from the get-go, and her whole obsession with cleaning and loving Pokemon is something I can respect, and it makes sense for a child to be this way. Where Max was kind of trying to act older than what he actually was, and he had very few episodes that really focused on him. I think the Esper episode that aired recently was a good example of how Bonnie is, but how she doesn't really get scared and how she's not immature like that. Where her maturity is varied in different ways. I feel like you could do a little bit more with Bonnie, but I'm not exactly sure what. But for what we've gotten, I like Bonnie. Bonnie I don't have a problem with. Now we move to my biggest character, Serena. Now, Serena's concept, I don't mind the concept of her character, the whole, I don't know what I want to do, which is another callback to Sinnoh. I mean, not Sinnoh, Hoenn, with May. I don't know what to do. The problem is that no one knows what she's going to end up doing, because it's not like Hoenn where we had the contest thing, a thing in the game, so we kind of assumed that's probably where May was going to end up, even if you didn't. When you played the games, even if you hadn't seen the anime all the way up to that point yet. But with X and Y, there wasn't anything new introduced in terms of side mechanics. The only hint to what she might end up knowing is that she is the only character I know of in the series that's actually questioned and argued with the Pokédex. Which I feel like might be an indirect hint to what she's going to end up doing. But if it turns into that means she's going to be one of those characters who just has a goal that isn't really canon to the series, meaning they will never really focus any episodes to her progressing through that goal. But at the same time, we can't do the gym badge stuff because, honestly, we've already passed the first gym. If she was going to get into the gym badges, that'd be the time to do it. Unless they want to do something interesting like they could do between like X and Y and X and Y 2 or whatever, where they introduce new gym leaders and have Serena fight some of the same gym leaders Ash fights, but have like the extra gym leaders maybe from the new game show up for Serena to fight, since Ash already has his 8 badges. But I don't believe they're going to do that either. And the Rhyhorn racing, which is what a lot of people thought it was going to be, I was glad it wasn't, because that would have been really redundant and not that interesting to me. They kind of had her appreciate it more, but not necessarily fall in love with it like her mother is. I also like the fact that they kept that as a thing, that her mother is a Rhyhorn racer, which I believe in the games it was your mother that was a Rhyhorn racer. So I like the fact that that was canon to the anime. And I think my biggest problem with Serena is because of what it's kind of obvious what she's kind of put in there for. The whole previous connection with Ash thing, which really wouldn't bother me, except you realize that they're trying to push a love interest thing with it. That's the only thing that's referring to. Or the stupid, because you're around, you give me strength, which is, once again, a romance thing. And that would be cool if the anime, if Pokemon could pull something like that off. But I don't believe they are. I really don't. Like, there's no way I can really view that coming out well. Especially because she hasn't had any episodes dedicated to her since the Rhyhorn episode. So unless some of the future episodes... See, that's the... If people want to ask what episodes I'm looking forward to the most, it's the ones that focus on Serena. Because I feel like Serena needs it the most. Her defining characteristic as of right now is that she has a relationship with Ash. Her interactions with the other characters are pretty standard. Like, she's like, okay, we have an inventor on our team. So she has faith in Clement, which isn't really a big issue. She seems pretty, like her relationships with all the characters, and that's the other thing I'm kind of weird with, is that their relationship with each other aren't really differing as much as I kind of want them to. I don't expect them all to be on the same level. I mean, as I said, the only differing thing about Serena right now is that she's the only character who questions the Pokédex sometimes during certain episodes. Other than that, she really doesn't have that many defining traits, of any traits at all, which is what makes her feel kind of hollow. And that's why I don't want her to be used for romance. Because if you're not going to expand, if you're not going to flush her out and have her entire thing be about how she likes Ash or crushes on Ash, I'm be like, oh God, don't do that. That's my problem. Serena has a lot of uncertainty around her, and until we start getting episodes that flesh her out more, I'm worried. Especially because she only has Finnegan as of right now, and I don't know what they want to do with her. Like, I have no idea what they're trying to do with Serena. I have guesses, but I don't know. I don't think they'd be dumb. Well, no, they might be dumb enough to try to use the romance thing as a thing for the entire region, which I really hope they don't do. We obviously know the whole thing with Clement is going to be gaining courage and becoming more confident in what he wants to do. Bonnie, as I said, I think the girls are the weakest right now. I think Bonnie and Serena, you don't have to give them goals, but give them like something in terms of character arcs to push them forward that aren't crushes. I mean, the crush can be a part of it, but don't let it be the driving force behind her character, because then you're not going to really care about her in terms of anything else but crushes, like in terms of battling skills. Which is the other thing. She's a newbie, and they haven't really addressed the fact that she's a newbie. Actually, that's weird, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, that's weird. They haven't even addressed the fact that she's a newbie. She just seems to be going with the flow. Even with the whole traveling together thing, it's kind of like, well, I was like, what was your goal to begin with? Because it was like you went out, got a Pokemon, and then went to come find Ash and give him something. What was your point of doing? What were you going to do after that? And she didn't even know what the hell she was going to do. Now, if she were to come into her own character, kind of like the games, maybe, but it depends on how they do it. Like, if Ash were to indirectly inspire her to become a trainer, but it just take longer than it did May to come into the contest thing, that might work, but the anime hasn't hinted to that at all, so I don't know. So if you had to say what my biggest paranoia, and the weakest other group is probably Serena. Bonnie being second, and then Clement and Ash being perfectly fine. That's where I'm at with that. As far as his team is considered, we have Froakie, fucking Fletchling, and Pikachu as of right now, which is cool because he hasn't mained of solo water. No, he hasn't. The only main he did solo was, I believe, Gen 3, which was Sceptile, another Gen 3 reference. So if he gets the Greninja by the end of this, I'd be hyped. And we know and it has the other split, like how each of the mains each have a starter. Chespin, Clement, and Finnegan, Serena. So there's not too much to talk about the teams, and I guess the last section of this will be some of the previews for future episodes we're getting and stuff based around that. So, yeah. Okay, now some of the previews we've already seen the episodes for, so I'm not really going to go over those, more so the newer ones, like maybe the Delphox one and some of the just side stuff, okay? So we know that the gym leaders are going to have a bigger focus, at the very least, in X and Y, because we do get to see a preview of the Battle Chateau, which, of those who know, we go through the Battle Chateau before we hit the second gym. Which is interesting to me, and there's even when you watch the special that previews those clips, I think the gym leader, what's his name, Grant, says, I'll be waiting for you at the gym. So I'm like, okay, if you're going to push the gym leaders a little bit more in this region, I'm cool with that too. Because ironically, X and Y's gym leaders need it, but at the same time, this is something I thought the black and white anime should have done. Considering how prevalent the gym leaders were in the game. So I was like, why is Gen 5 gym leaders just kind of chilling in the back, but Gen 6s are actually going to push them? Because we're going to see Viola again, which is cool. Also like, and as a side thing for Bonnie, I'm glad they're not playing up the whole Sivu play with the girl thing every episode. Like Brock's was like every freaking episode. Like every time he saw a girl, they did the whole Brock, please be my wife bullshit. At least they're not doing that with Bonnie every episode, because we've had episodes in which there have been girls around, and he hasn't taken it. She hasn't done it every time. She just does it occasionally. So they as I say, if you were to have that same level of consistency with Clement's gags, I'd be cool. So, anyways, we know we're gonna see Viola and Grant relatively soon. We know we'll have some episodes dedicated to seeing the evolutions. Ironically, because we're seeing Delphox. The Delphi episode already aired. And then who are we missing? Oh, I guess we would be missing Chestnut, which may come in the future. And then we also have the Frogadier episode, which I believe will be some good character development for Froakie, which I'm cool with. But Fletching, don't let Fletching just chill in the back like they do with all the other bird Pokemon. Like almost all the other flying types, except for Swallow, I guess, actually got a sense of development, because friggin' Pidove, Pidove and Taylor, and Pidove? What is Pidove? No. Pidove, Starly, and Pidgeotto, or Pidgeot, Pidgey. All of them mostly just stuck in the backs, and except for maybe like Swallow, maybe Staraptor to an extent. So I don't, push Fletchling, especially because he can be a pretty cool badass, considering he becomes a fire type at a certain evolution. So Fletching needs some more focus too, damn it. Don't just focus on Froakie like they've been doing recently. Same thing for Bunnelby and Chespin. It seems like he's about to get it. And Finnegan needs it, because once again Serena needs it. So even if you don't focus on Serena, focus on the Finnegan, because the Finnegan's just chilling there like an asshole. We don't need that to happen. But in terms of the future episodes, it looks promising. Also, they seem to be doing some type of anime-only filler, which may or may not have something to do with Team Flare. I don't think it does, because the Pokemon they use is, I think it's called Malamar, which is the evolved form of Inkay, and this whole dark setup with that, and Pikachu going evil like he seems to do in every fucking region. That looks relatively interesting, but I don't know how I feel about that, because I've kind of burnt out on all these specials. Almost all, I think Black and White specials, I was like, I'm fucking done. So I don't know how that's gonna really work for these later episodes. But in terms of now, we'll see what happens, but I have a feeling I'm not gonna care here either. And since those were the previews for the new episodes coming, that probably means the next episode is going to be like the Frogadier one, and then we might get... I haven't really looked at the list, but we'll see. We'll see. The new episodes, in a sense, some of them look promising, some of them look like Team Rocket bullshit specials, which I guess I should address Team Rocket. Oh, we're back to this shit again. Oh, we're back to this shit again with them. Oh, I'm so tired of Team Rocket. I can say that in all honesty. I'm so fucking tired of Team Rocket. Period. They're nothing unless they do something different with them. But they're not going to, because they're back to how they were in Sinnoh. Well, not even like how they were in Sinnoh and Hoenn. Like they were in like Johto and Kanto. And I'm like, yay! Jokey Team Rocket again. Dicking around. Blasting off again. They're even using the old model, which I think they started doing that in late Black and White. And I'm just like, woo, we're back to this bullshit again. I didn't like it in Black and White, and I don't like it here. Just for the love of God. Don't tell me the anime is going to go into a new stage like the games, and then the anime is literally has some better qualities about it, but you still have Team Rocket in the background. I understand you have to have antagonistic characters, but I'd rather have one-shot villains like you did with the Pokemon Poacher thing in the last few episodes than to have Team Rocket. That's how bad they've gotten. Because even the Pokemon they catch in this region have no fucking character. It's just like, NK wants some food. Caught. And Jesse's was just fucking like, I don't even care mode. Literally, the bitch comes out the ground and Jesse just throws a fucking ball at it. What in the fuck? What in the fuck? What is the point of that? Why even... That makes me feel like the writers didn't even give a shit. You couldn't even write them ways to catch... You didn't even write Jessie a way to catch that damn thing. She literally trips over it and catches it. I have never seen such an uninspired capture in the anime ever. I don't think the anime has ever been that fucking bored of itself. For the love of God, either write them in less, which I know you don't want to do. See, the thing is, if they were to take out Team Rocket, or at least move them out not nearly as much, or even do what Black and White did, which is make them be serious and them not show up for a while and then pop back in with like this really elaborate plan. At least then you had episodes focused on the characters and the development. And with this shit, oh my god, just like stop. No one cares about Team Rocket anymore. Fucking suck, period. And I guess one other thing I can talk about is the rivals, because we had some anime only rivals and we've had some new rivals completely. In Black and White, we had, how many were canon? Only like one. Bianca's the only canon rival we got. And we usually get at least one canon character. I'm not going to say canon rival, but we usually get one canon character. I hope they don't take that trait from Hoenn, where they don't fucking really introduce a rival until like way late in the region. Because that wasn't fun. And granted, you don't have to do as ridiculous as Black and White was with it. But dial it back, like hit a middle ground. Like, which we still don't know which rival they're going to introduce. Are they going to introduce Shauna, Tierno, or Trevor? I'm hoping Shauna. I'm hoping to God it's Shauna. Because I don't care enough about Tierno and I don't care enough about Trevor. And even if you want to show those other two up, please put Shauna in there. If you're going to have one canon rival, give me Shauna and maybe give me one other one. I don't need 6. Because Best Wishes kind of got ridiculous at a point with fucking, I can't even remember his name, Kotetsu. So I'm like, you can dial it, you don't have to give us like 6, just give us like, I don't know, like 1 or 2. That's cool, but please let Shauna be the canon one. Because fuck Trevor and Tierno, they weren't shit. Well, I guess it would be good, it would develop their characters for the anime if anything else, but once again, that's if they write them well. And depending on how there's too many uncertainties for me to be worrying about rivals. So Shauna, I'd be good. Give me Shauna, I'd be good. Just don't give me anywhere else. Plus that it would give Serena someone to relate to. Because Shauna in the games was, I don't know what the fuck to do in my life. So if you made her the same way, and you see Shauna grow, and it's kind of an inspiration for Serena, that would be nice development. That's just me. Anyways, I've rambled on for way too fucking long. For those who wanted my X and Y opinions, there you go. That's all of it. Blah. I might do this later after we get a few more gyms in, like around the 4th or 5th gym. But for right now, that's about it. So, this has been the Insane Game Freak. That's a game, let a win, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Peace. Don't get third party partially because you guys don't support it, and then they bring up the sales of certain third party games that have been